Alright, so I just finished playing Knack. Knack is this platforming game made specifically for the PS4 by Mark Cerny, one of the head developers of the PS4, and Japan Studios, which is the same company that, or publisher from Sony that brought you Crash Bandicoot. And I know that we haven't really had a Crash game in a while, but yeah, I'm trying to get onto this. Knack was pretty good. Um, it had good action adventure platforming games like you've seen in the past, like Sonic, Mario, Crash, Spyro. It had a little bit of all of those in it. In fact, there were some traits that you could see from some games, like Knack had the ability to kind of jump dash enemies, as well as just some like God of War aspects with fighting enemies and stuff. But other than that, I felt like throughout the entire game, like it was missing something, like something to really make it defining. I mean, there was the relic collecting ability, which allowed Knack to collect bits and relics to make himself bigger and bigger, or different parts of the elements like metal or ice or wood, or which gave him certain other abilities. But I got this sense like something was missing throughout the game. Um, one of the things that really, one of the only things I can really pin it down to, which I don't think is really the reason why, but for the game controls itself, all you pretty much use is the left and right, these buttons right here, and that's it. You don't use a touchpad, you don't use the R2, L2 triggers at all. There's a little bit with the mic and the controller, where if you're collecting items like sunstone energy or the relics themselves, you can hear them being collected on it. But I don't know what it was. The story aspect, it's a game made for strictly platforming games. The story's not going to be the real focus, but when I was watching the story, watching the cutscenes, I always felt like it was talking down to me. I mean, at least with Mario and Spyro, there was a little bit of comedy and a somewhat clever humor in it, but the plot lines in it were just poorly executed. I mean, I can't really explain it other than that. I mean, regular kids' TV shows had better drama and stuff in them. Like the reactions of the people in the cutscenes and in the storyline are not what you would expect at all. Like this is a game. The characters aren't fleshed out really at all. Like this guy's just a scientist who's just pursuing his goals. I mean, there's a little bit of drama there. One of the most useless characters in the entire game was this guy named Ryder, and he's pretty much this action adventure Indiana Jones type character throughout the entire game, and he does jack shit to further the plot, really. I mean, he tells them about this place that he knew of, but they could have gone there by themselves and stuff, and I just felt like there was so much missing from this game. Like I couldn't really pin it down. It felt like something was missing besides just the control layout, besides just the storyline. The ending, I'm actually hoping there's a sequel to this game. I really am, because I want to see what Knack can further do, because besides just collect himself, I want to see more of the elemental stuff with the parts he can pick up. I'd actually like to see him use a weapon or something. And the ending left so many questions unanswered. And like the goblins throughout the game, you know how the game pretty much predominantly said that the goblins were the main foe. The goblins aren't really the main foe. They're more of a side foe. There's this game struggles to really define its enemy, and that could work if the story was clever enough, if it took itself seriously enough. But in this game, it's all over the place. There's no defining storyline in this, really. Something happens, so they just say, "All right, let's get to it." They don't really react any at all to it. They're just like, all right, let's get going. And that was the real problem with it. It didn't take itself any of the serious parts. They played down so much. Not to mention all the times where you're made to think that Knack is dead. Come on. At this point, about 2 hours into the game, he had been tried to be killed off at least 2 or 3 times, and you knew he was going to survive, regardless of whether he's the main character of the game. These are pretty much just phoned in to create drama, and you knew it was just bad. It was just really bad, but the game itself was a lot of fun. Besides the storyline, I really do want to see more out of this game. But I can see why it got such low ratings on like Kotaku and Polygon, because it does seem, they say that there's a lot cut out, or it leaves much to be desired for our next gen. The graphics, on the other hand, the graphics were gorgeous. There's this one, when you're ever looking up into the sky and you can see the clouds actually look like clouds. They don't look like big, I can't think of a metaphor or description for them right now, but they actually look like clouds. The graphics, Mark Cerny, one of the developers of the PS4, developed the game, so it makes sense that he would work on the graphics in this game for the next generation. But yeah, nothing really noteworthy about it. It's fun. You could go back and play it, but nothing really phenomenal about it, like Banjo-Kazooie, Spyro, even Crash. But that might change with a sequel. I hope they do have a sequel to really raise it up in quality, but for right now, it's a good game. Nothing really special. But yeah, that's pretty much my review of Knack. If you guys have a PlayStation 4, I would recommend getting it, as well as Blacklight Retribution. You might not be able to see it from here, but Blacklight's a pretty good game. The customizations leaves much to be desired, but anyway, I was focusing on Knack. But yeah, if you have a PS4, lack of games, Knack is the way to go. It's pretty much one of the only choices you really have for games. If you're not a big into first-person shooters, Knack would probably be one of your best choices. But for my overall rating of the game, I'd have to say 7 out of 10. I was going to go 6 out of 10, but I thought, no, that would be just way too cruel. But actually 6.5, 6.5 out of 10. That's probably the best I can go with this game. It's a good game. But anyway, this is Riley Percival Miller, signing off.